I expected this to happen. So Jeremy from the Quartering found out that CNET is making an article talking about the gaming channels on YouTube. He got contacted by one of the writers, and it looks like it's gonna be a hit piece towards the gaming YouTubers. I guess I would call myself a gaming YouTuber, even if I don't play games that much. I do reviews at least, but I do talk about video games a lot, and I kind of feel like this upcoming hit piece is an attack on me and people like me. And now the article just came out, and wow, they didn't just talk about the Quartering here. There's a lot of people to get to. Meet the angry gaming YouTubers who turn outrage into views. Isn't that kind of what you do, CNET? This is you putting outrage on outraged gaming YouTubers for the views? It's a very interesting outrage paradox you got in there. The video game world is no stranger to controversy, but a new class of YouTube commentators is turning anger into violence. Influence. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it actually turns like that.
How to make a successful video on one of the internet's most popular sites. Step 1. Find something to be angry about. Go to online forums, track what's hot on Twitter, and figure out the outrage of the day. Step 2. Rant into a camera for 10 minutes. Step 3. Profit.
Okay, first off, writer, that's not how you do the profit meme. This is how you do the profit meme. And profits they had. Are you jealous of the Quartering's 500,000 subscribers or Yongya's 900,000 subscribers? Surprisingly, Yongya didn't get any mention in this article, despite him being one of the most prominent YouTube gaming commentators who have talked about many of the recent video game controversies. Instead, the writer picks up other channels that are more controversial, I guess. But considering what the writer has to say with a lot of these YouTubers being covered in this article, Yongya not being in the article is more of a blessing.
Welcome to 2019, where some influential gamers on YouTube have learned what many others, including the President of the United States, have figured out. Anger sells. It sells big.
Writer, I sense some jealousy in that paragraph.
Starting last year, a new cadre of negative YouTube gaming commentators came to prominence. Almost in unison, they each enjoyed spikes in audience and view counts, attracting hundreds of thousands of subscribers. That translated into millions of views a week as they dissected the video game industry's missteps, misadventures, and controversies. The views get rewarded by YouTube in ad dollars.
I don't know where you're going with this, writer. Are you insinuating that it's wrong for these gaming YouTubers to make videos about the video game industry's missteps, misadventures, and controversies? Are you saying that it's wrong to be outraged on many of the gaming companies' horrendous business practices? Is it wrong for the average man on YouTube with a decent following to inform their viewers about the latest hooplas? And most importantly, is it wrong when other legacy media game journalists did it?
Their negativity comes in many forms. Some YouTubers produce a stream of videos criticizing every imaginable fault a game could have. Visual bugs, awkward controls, stupid storylines. Others obsess over game developers' attempts to fix glitches.
Oh no! YouTubers asking game developers to fix glitches. God forbid. The absolute horror. We should be outraged by this.
There are commentators who wail against efforts to upsell players who typically shell out $60 for a game. These microtransactions, as they are known, can include different character designs, new looks for weapons, and additional stories, and are a source of constant irritation for vocal commentators who see them as a ripoff.
Again, no mention of Yongya, the guy who fight this entire thing for a living. I'm utterly disappointed in you, writer. You watch these types of videos and you never once encountered Yongya.
Others veer into criticism of outspoken game company executives. Some attacks get personal, criticizing members of the gaming community for their looks.
Wait. Criticizing members of the gaming community for their looks? I don't recall that being a thing. I need an example on this. I don't know who you're referring to or what you're referring to.
There's no single formula, and the YouTubers have taken different tacks, such as high production videos with formal scripts or off-the-cuff rambling, but all rely on the same strategy, getting the audience angry.
The writer cited a video from Force Gaming, which, I'm not gonna lie, is actually pretty funny. It's only 6 minutes and it's nothing but making fun of laziness and the clickbait thumbnails that many gaming commentary YouTubers do, including himself, but it's an intentionally self-deprecating joke, so I gotta give him props for that self-awareness. But hey, at least he doesn't contact advertisers and tell them that they're being hateful and they should stop. But going back to the last paragraph, you're practically saying that these gaming YouTubers are manufacturing outrage to arbitrarily getting the audiences angry. angry. Let's get all of the examples that you use as things to get angry at. Visual bugs, that's a legitimate thing to get angry at. Awkward controls, that's also a good point of contention. Glitches, I mean, unless if you're Todd Howard in disguise, I think most people want to have their games to work properly and not glitch out. $60 games with microtransactions, how is this not a point of contention? Microtransactions in general being a ripoff? Perceived political beliefs? Is it perceived or something that the developers actually believe, like what Xbox's Phil Spencer said? There are only two valid things that shouldn't get a lot of people outraged, like stupid storyline, which isn't always a bad thing depending on the game, and criticizing members on the gaming community for their looks. I don't even know what you mean by that. The Quartering highlighted a segment on the article where multiple people make fun of the looks of a journalist from GameSpot, a journalist that he criticized in one of his videos. So it wasn't even Jeremy himself, just some doofuses on the internet. Okay, but you can't control what they do, and he disavows all of those. You seems to make it as if the audiences were made angry by the gaming YouTubers for completely arbitrary reasons, when in reality they're angry for very legitimate reasons. I need that clip from the Nerd Crew.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product.
The writer then cited Clean Prince Gaming. I think you've seen him sometime in the recommended page. Then the writer mentioned Legacy Killer HD, also a YouTuber that you might find in the recommended page. I think the reason why the writer picked these two are because of their thumbnails and titles. They are quite provocative after all.
Click on those videos and YouTube recommends more like them, bearing titles such as The Year Activision Blizzard Got on by the gaming industry, and Activision Blizzard is disgusting, EA is the worst company ever, here's why, and The Rise and Fall of EA.
Okay, writer, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Those are some really clickbait titles, so I check on every single video that you link just to see their content. The Year Activision Blizzard Got Crap On by the Gaming Industry by Downward Thrust. Oh, Downward Thrust. Anyway, it's a video talking about Activision Blizzard and how it got widely criticized by so many people for Diablo Immortal and many other things to the point where their stock dropped. I also talk about this many times. I talk about the Diablo Immortal controversy, and I also talk about the failure of handling backlash when they revealed that Soldier 76 is gay. Something that even the progressives criticize for very good reasons, I might add. The next one is Activision Blizzard is disgusting by Upper Echelon Gamers. This is mainly talking about Activision Blizzard's drive towards the highest profit to please the executives, which was done by half-assing game elements, laying off nearly 800 employees right after the $50 million hiring of the new CFO. They laid off 800 employees, hired a new CFO for $50 million, and half-assed a lot of game elements just to please the executives for higher and seemingly impossible profits. If that's not disgusting, I don't know what is. EA is the worst company ever by Kodak WK is a video talking about EA's general greediness, horrendous business practices, and their utter laziness on making good games in their franchises. It's not a bad video, it shows very valid reasons in why EA is one of the worst company ever, at least on the gaming space. And finally, The Rise and Fall of EA by Legacy Killer HD, which is talking about, well, The Rise and Fall of EA. It's not clickbait, it's an accurate title for the video that highlights the rise and fall of EA. In fact, I think it's a good video. Have you seen it, writer?
Activision Blizzard didn't respond to a request for comment. EA declined to comment for this story.
I can't imagine why.
It's hard to pinpoint why this torrent of negativity has become so popular, but analysts,
Okay, stop. Have you seen any of those 4 videos, writer? They all talk about the things that I do think deserve at least some outrage because they are garbage and terrible business practices that are bad for the consumers and the industry. Sure, they might exaggerate and clickbait the hell out of the topic, but it doesn't mean that there isn't a reason for the outrage. I think this clip is still appropriate.
Don't ask questions, just consume product and then get excited for next product.
As a result, Google, YouTube's parent company, rewards this negativity by sending millions of viewers to these channels. We have strict policies that govern what kinds of videos we show ads on, and videos with hateful content violate those policies, YouTube spokesperson said in a statement. If we find videos that are showing ads and shouldn't be, we remove ads immediately.
Ryder, none of these videos that you cited on the top are really that hateful. They offer criticisms towards the video game companies that they criticize, and I can't blame them for being hateful because these video game companies do a lot of really stupid and anti-consumer things. I think that YouTube spokesperson is talking about hateful content that is more political in nature. They don't usually demonetize or censor constructive criticisms being directed towards game companies. They have demonetized my criticisms towards Sony's censorship, but that's mostly because I show anime titties and YouTube doesn't like that.
On Wednesday, YouTube said that it would take a tougher stand against the more toxic elements on all parts of the service. Everyone on YouTube will be subject to the new hate speech policies, whether it be in videos they post or in other actions like comments or stories, a YouTube spokesperson added.
None of the examples that you cited can be considered hate speech. All of them are criticisms. I don't understand why this comment from YouTube needs to be added other than as a way for the writer to indirectly say that these videos are toxic and they're hate speech. The best criticism that you can offer to those videos is that they're clickbaiting. But even when they're clickbaiting, there are still legitimate critiques towards the gaming companies that you willfully ignore.
People love negativity, said Stephen Williams, a longtime YouTuber whose channel, Boogie2988, counts more than 4.5 million subscribers.
I don't know why you have to quote Boogie on that. That's a very general statement, and I sincerely believe that this statement is taken out of context. Oh, by the way, Clean Prince Gaming and Upper Echelon found the respective article, and Upper Echelon said that he is tricked for the interview. Jeremy from the Quartering knew that this is gonna happen. He refused to do the interview and threatens to sue CNET if there are any libelous statement. Mad props to him for that, but this is a warning to pretty much all of you when these media outlets want to do interviews with you. Be careful.
Other YouTubers like The Angry Joe Show and Jim Sterling have found similar success by mixing in overly dramatic tongue-in-cheek jokes, skits, and the occasional positive video. Neither Angry Joe or Sterling responded to requests for comment.
Both Joe and Sterling make content that are very similar to what you cited previously. Why are they not the point of contention? Because they have funny skits and they make positive videos? I can't blame them for not responding to comments.
But some people took the angry part too seriously, and now they're trying to become the next big gaming commentators, William told me. We have a whole generation of young kids who were raised on negativity, he said.
Again, I don't know why you cited Boogie for this because he also criticized a lot of horrible practices in many game companies, as in the same topics that the channels that you cited talked about. He's just less cynical at it. Is that the problem here? That they're too negative for your taste, even though they're practically talking about the same thing?
Mass marketing anger is nothing new, and it's certainly not unique to YouTube. Even President Donald Trump reportedly learned that his most effective tweets are his most unhinged, Watergate scribe Bob Woodward wrote in his book Fear last year.
What does Trump have to do with anything in all of this? This is a very weird person to reference.
Now, the gaming community is manufacturing outrage videos.
Define manufacture. You are practically saying that these videos were made for the sake of getting gamers outrage. In reality, they're just mere clickbaits to topics that actually do have some merits, to things that deserve to be talked about in the gaming industry. If you don't like that they're clickbait, just say that they're clickbait. Oh, wait a second. You work on a journalistic outlet that relies on clickbait. That would be too hypocritical.
If you're trolling for game news on YouTube, anger is becoming the only emotion you'll experience in your recommended feed.
And whose fault is that? Are you saying that these channels are at fault for making people angry at bad business practices from game developers? Am I to blame for making my viewers to bash their head several times on the wall thanks to your ridiculous point? I have first aid kits, by the way. I'm just merely responding to you and reporting what you said. I'm not the reason for the outrage. You are. These channels are clickbaiting, but they're not the reason for the outrage. At no point in this entire article you ever thought, maybe these gaming channels have a point when they say that game companies are doing scummy business practices. Or maybe we should just stop and... well, I'm just gonna pull that clip again.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Rather than talks about one of the channel's upper echelon gamers who started off as a channel for tips and tricks for Tom Clancy's The Division, but then he criticized Red Dead Online and his channel took off. His channel was initially a tips and tricks channel that becomes a criticism and commentary channel for a lot of things in games. I don't see anything wrong with that.
That includes where he posted a video criticizing social justice warriors, or SJWs, a common internet slur for people who advocate for diversity.
SJWs, people who advocate for diversity. That's too funny. Oh, and by the way, the writer also wrote a freaking glossary of some sort. A guide to the insider's language of YouTube gamers. Watch out, normies. These YouTube gamers are gonna use these dangerous lingos to throw people off guard. Some of these come straight out of the alt-right. So what are these gaming slangs to describe their perceived enemies? Paid DLC? Microtransactions? Games as a service? Season pass? Those are very common terms, and the fact that you have to explain that to people just means that this article is not written for gamers, by gamers. Oh, now things make sense. This writer doesn't understand why people are angry because he's not a gamer. He doesn't understand why people are angry towards microtransactions or season passes. He's not someone who plays video games, and that's why he doesn't understand all the issues. That's why he needs to make a glossary explaining to people, hey, these are the most basic common terms that gamers use to explain the business elements in a video game. Next time, we're gonna teach all of us in what teabagging means. Then the writer explains what SJW means by referencing freaking Gamergate. I can't believe that you have to explain what journalist is. That's the Quartering's way of describing hack journalists. In fact, this entire glossary is things that Jeremy would say in his video. I love these two in particular. Blue check marks is a slur. Blue check mark is a slur. And finally, ratioed, which is a measure of social media response. Yes, writer, that's what happened to you when you tweet all of these garbage. This glossary only makes me realize that the writer is not writing this article to people who understand the most common gaming terms, i.e. gamers. It's written for the most mainstream freaking normies that doesn't understand what microtransaction is. You know what else he doesn't understand? Google Adsense. The writer talked about how Upper Echelon Games is doing YouTube full time and that his advertisers include Sprint, Honda, and Mattresses Firm? Writer, are you saying that those companies actually put ads on his videos specifically? I don't think that's how AdSense work. And finally, we get to talk about the Quartering. I don't watch his videos that often, to be honest, and I'm not exactly a fan, but I admit sometimes he does good reporting. Since he's the one who brought this hit piece to my attention, he of course has responded to it in a more off-the-cuff style like he usually do. We should just call it Jeremy rambling. The article spends a very good portion criticizing him. I'm not too sure on the facts, and I'm not too much of a fan of Jeremy myself, so I'll leave him to debunk these segments. If you're interested to see his take on the article, I'll link to it in my blog down below. The one thing that I do want to mention is the writer contacting Gamefly, Honda, and Devry University, who said that they will no longer run ads in their Quarterings' channel. But other companies will still do, like this Game of Thrones browser game ad that keeps popping up in every video I click. I can't be the only one who got this, right? You probably got this one too when you click this video. The ads that appear on people's videos will depend from person to person, so you might be able to pressure Gamefly, Honda, and Devry University to not put ads on his videos, but there are hundreds, if not thousands of companies that use AdSense. Their ads will still be there. You are directly targeting a bunch of YouTubers' revenue by going through their advertisements without understanding how AdSense works. You contacted these three companies to remove their ads on Jeremy's videos, but other ads from other companies will still appear in his video, depending on either what the user frequently browses on the internet or what kind of ads that Jeremy wants in his video. That's how AdSense works, at least as far as I know. You just remove the ads that tailored specifically to you, but you didn't remove ads that tailor to other people like me, who for some reason AdSense thinks that I want a Game of Thrones browser game. If this is your attempt on demonetizing gaming YouTubers, this is the laziest and most pathetic attempt yet. If you don't want ads to appear on Jeremy's video, I'd suggest using uBlock Origin. So to sum up, writer is not a gamer, doesn't understand why gamers are mad, thinks that their criticisms are hate speech, wants daddy YouTube to demonetize them and strip them of their revenue, but unfortunately the writer doesn't understand how AdSense works. This is gonna be one of the few times where I'm glad that I got an ad from the Game of Thrones web game.